G.I. Joe is G.I. Joe.
I've been avoiding this for a very long time. Um, I don't know if anyone knows the news that had happened, but my partner for this podcast, Richard Duran, passed away. And he was the main reason why we started this podcast in the first place. Was he and I both shared the love of GI Joe, and he tragically passed away, and it's been a very hard transition because every time I think about doing the show and updating it, I think about him. But Richard was probably one of the kindest human beings I ever met. Just a genius when it comes to when it comes to customization. He was a master retailer, and if you know, also he had the biggest heart that anyone ever had, and he was a massive GI Joe fan, and we enjoyed ourselves doing the show, and it was something that he very well enjoyed to do. And we'll talk at the end of the episode about how do we carry on, and especially how do I keep his memory fresh because every time I think about the show, I think about the name. He had so much pride in it. We both enjoyed it, and it's just extremely hard to go on. But we're going to go on because Richard, one thing he did was he was a very hardworking individual, and he would want us to keep working and keep going. So that's what we're going to do. So, we normally start the show off with our standard saying, but we're not going to do that today. We're just going to try to do a couple other things. So, since we last met, the last show that we were on had, myself and Richard and Mr. Scott Solo. We were talking about mail order Joes. Fantastic episode. You can catch that through the replays. And if you haven't done it at this moment, hey, throw us a comment. Let us know what you like about the show, what you enjoyed, or if you have any comments about Richard, put it in because we certainly would like to hear that. I know his family would definitely like to hear that. If you're looking to help out in any way on Instagram, go over to ks_collectibles.com. And you can actually either go on the website or over to Instagram, which would be ks_collectibles. And he has a GoFundMe up. And, whenever these situations happen, it happens suddenly. No one ever makes preparations for these things. So I know that his family would appreciate anything that you could do. So that's what we're going to try to do, keep his memory in, and we'll push on. So last we left, there were some pre-orders that popped in, and it's been a little chaotic over here, so we haven't gone over that. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to go over the latest GI Joe classified pre-orders, and we're also going to talk about the sudden shift in prices that we've seen. And again, while it does say it's the tribunal, we try here on the SKN network to never get political. So we're going to try to navigate this as best as we can. But let's pull up and see what happened on April 15th. There were some orders that dropped in. And the first one was the Armored Cobra Commander. And I was shocked at how well this scope was. It reminded me of the 3 3/4 figure. It had all of the great things he had, except for it added a couple of features to this. It had a couple of additional hands. It had the iguana. Now, if you've ever watched the old D cartoons, because when this costume did premiere, they had stopped the Sunbow version of G.I. Joe, Real American Hero, and then they had moved over to Deke. And this was the whole different thing, kinda like after the G.I. Joe movie, it left Cobra Commander in the middle of once a man and then fully turning into a snake, and it was a middle lane. So when the Deke series premiered, it actually gave a little bit of, resolution and end to what had happened through the G.I. Joe movie, and they were able to proceed on. But, he's actually in his new armor. I like all the weapons. I like the sculpt. I think they did a really good job on this. And of course, down below, you can see that there's some of these items are still available. And when we use the term available, that means they're available on Hasbro Pulse. But also, these are still readily available over at the other secondary stores. But we've got that to get into a little bit later. The item that I was really surprised about. was the Cobra Claw. First of all, exceeded my expectations. I thought this was going to be a little bit more in the price range. I thought it was going to be a little higher, and it actually hit a very good sweet spot. Which, again, I know with everything that's going on, how sweet can it be? But I'm just looking it up right here. It was for 54.99. Now I thought that this item would probably come in probably around 65, maybe a little higher than that. So 54, it's not the greatest, but look, it comes with a character, and it comes with the actual glide and a couple of weapons and everything else. So it's not that bad. So I was really surprised that they kept it to 54.99, and that actually is sold out. So that was one of the things that went real quick. I was surprised that this sold out. I thought they would have had a little bit more stock from it, but hey, this what goes on. So again, great sculpt. Love the character. Love the base stand. This one, I'll be honest with you, the Cobra Claw. I am probably gonna put that with probably the retro version of the face plated Cobra Commander, because every time I see the Cobra Claw, that's exactly what I think about. I think that he needs to be on there. So I don't know how well I'm going to use the pilot that came with it, but I definitely know my Cobra Commander or my Destro will be wearing one of those. I don't know about you, but hey, let me know if you've got any plans for the claw, and also let me know how many of these you ordered, because I actually ordered two of them. And if you know my running mate over on Toy Box Chronicles, Mr. Maddox, I'm probably sure he ordered way more than necessary. So he's probably in the 5 or 6 range, but because he's a huge Cobra fan as well, so he probably overindulged in this. But these were the two main orders I was looking for. I was mostly wanting the claw. I didn't know if I was gonna order Cobra Commander right away, or sometimes, can you play the long game with some of these characters? I don't know, because of the way that everything's kinda rolling around, if we could wait on the long game or if we actually need to purchase these right away. But I will tell you that the best option from ordering these were through Hasbro Pulse. So, we'll move on. Next from there, the retro version of Major Blood. And I looked at this character, and while there's a little bit different on the sculpt and the paint and everything else, this is pretty much a standard version of what the classified look like. It's again a different painting. I like it. If you're into Major Blood, at least you got a second chance around, because I know the first one was with Cobra Island and with the Target exclusive, and that was just something that, either you got them or you didn't, or you paid extreme amount of price for it, but that was all a mess in the early days of Classified. So gives you another opportunity with the character. I like all the weapons he comes with. I think they did a great job on his sculpt originally. It doesn't look like they really updated it too much. They kind of left the same face sculpt, but it's a character. Look, Major Blood, you gotta have him, man. And he's one of the OG Cobras. If you're gonna do anything, you definitely gotta have him. And he's still available over in Hasbro Pulse and through the other secondary stores too. So you can actually find them out there, no hunting them down and no paying any of the flipper prices. So you don't have to worry about that. The next one is Monkey Rich Dreadnought. This character, I was surprised, sold out on Hasbro Pulse. Mostly the Dreadnoughts, I've got to say, the last several of them have actually you've been able to find them through clearance. I know Pig went to clearance. I saw, the Ripper and Buzzer and a couple of those characters. I was able to get most of those characters through, but obviously Monkey Wrench must have a bigger fan base than I thought of, and he must be extremely popular Dreadnought. But and I remember him from, I believe it was also the either it was Rise to Pinto or Rise. I believe that was that miniseries that he debuted in. Uh, but hey, great accessories. Looks like they reused some of the parts and everything else. So did the axes, and but the gun looks great. The Triton based gun. I like his mask. It's interesting. The revolver. So a lot of great accessories. But again, I was shocked that he actually sold out. Let me know if you were shocked that he sold out as well. From there, we're gonna jump over to the item which thank you, Dorf Moocher, over the Starlight Digest podcast. If you haven't actually checked him out, you should check out him, Scott Solo, Grant Outmo France, The Fallen Fat. Those guys do a great show every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Pacific. But he actually, I could not find this character, and I don't know if anyone else had the same problem when we were trying to order him on the 15th. But he wasn't in the initial wave of all the characters. You actually had to go back to the home screen, and you had to pull into just the standard classified, and then you could find them. Again, thank you, Darth Moocher, because I was at the same time I was ordering it, he was ordering it, and he was walking us through like he normally does with Hasbro Pulse. Thank God somebody was walking us through for that. And he told me, "Oh no, this is how you have to do it. You have to go back. You have to go through and hit this." And I did, and I was able to catch him. But I totally forgot about him. I totally had checked out of my cart, and I thought, wait a minute, I thought there was one more character, and there was. So this character is readily available as well. And I titled this "The Hidden Snake Eyes" because again, you had to if he was on the 15th, he wasn't readily available. And this is the version 3 version of Snake Eyes. I did not have this character. I grew out of G.I. Joe by the time this character came around. But I kind of dug it. And I know we've been getting, I know the complaint has, we have a bunch of Snake Eyes that are showing up all over the place. And I know that people are like, how many more Snake Eyes? Look, he's an evergreen character with the Joes. They're gonna keep producing them as long as people keep buying them. And, I think we're up to, like, maybe 5, possibly 6 versions of them, and I see them constantly making more, so expect more Snake Eyes. Hopefully, they come out with maybe original design. We can actually see something that was kinda like we haven't seen on our radar. That might surprise us. But if you didn't get him, he's still available, don't worry, Hasbro Pulse got him, all the other secondary stores has them. You can find them, so you don't have to actually hit those scalper prices. But here's the one gripe that we're going to run through. And I don't know if you've been having the same problem, but the Walmart Collector Con, and I'll say no show right here because Crystal Ball was supposed to come several weeks ago. And then, like so many other people, I got an actual notification from Walmart saying that this character was delayed, but they have not given me any date on which he will show up. Now, initially on Hasbro Pulse, and the rollout for this character was completely wrong. First of all, they put him through the Collector's Con, and after we had already ordered him at the Collector's Con, and if you go through Walmart, you know the major beef with Walmart is that like they will take all of the funds for him immediately. So they don't do it when you ship. So if you ordered this character, they took the money out, and like right now we don't have this character, and they're holding that money. So that's the one reason why I don't like dealing with Walmart as much. And also, they have the habit of when you do order something, they're very good at basically canceling that order. So I don't know if I'm gonna get this character. This is one of those hope, and I'm sure a lot of other people are feeling the same kind of burden that they're hoping that this character comes out. We'll see if you order through Hasbro Pulse, which the major problem was the day that this went up 15, 20 minutes after we had all gotten our notifications and ordered, and they didn't say it was gonna be on Hasbro Pulse. They put up a, email that was sent out that said, "Hey, this character is available at Hasbro Pulse." By the time you jumped over to Hasbro Pulse, you found out that it was completely sold out, so there was a no-go on that, and, I know Mr. Maddox is a little bit ticked because he really wanted this character because this is a character, that was, designed and created by, the novelist Stephen King, so he has a very big affinity for Stephen King, and we will see if, we can track him down one, but again, I don't even know if I'm gonna get this character, so and let me know if I'm the only one that had this problem with Walmart. If you had the same problem, let me know in the comments and say, "Hey, Alex, I'm in your same boat. I'm crossing my fingers, saying a prayer that crystal ball shows up." And from there, we're going to talk about some pricing that is going on with the whole Hasbro Pulse and the secondary stores. So when we roll through, we're looking at like the pricing. So on Hasbro Pulse, we've gone through this whole thing. The whole world knows that there's this whole trade war that's happening, and a lot of people are worried about prices doubling and tripling and everything else. And every other week, we're going through if this is going up, if it's going down, or whatever. And at this moment, the best advice is say don't panic. Give it a couple of weeks. These things do take time. There's going to be a resolution that's going to happen. And eventually, we will all be able to know the stabilization of the industry. We'll know what we're spending on our figures, and don't panic. That's one of the things. Look, it's these are things that we enjoy. They should not stress us out. So if you feel like you're getting stressed out, and take a step back. You know, find something that you enjoy. Enjoy a little bit of life. Go outside, do something, and then come back to this later, because this is a hobby. It's meant for us to just do this during our enjoyment period. It's not meant to give us stress. And I know a lot of things are way more important in this world than us actually paying for prices of action figures. So but let's give it a couple of weeks. Let's see if this settles down, because it does show indications that we're going to get a stabilization of this. And when it does, then we'll have a final tally. But for right now, we don't know. But apparently, some of these secondary companies are acting like they know. So we're going to say that the price on Hasbro Pulse hasn't changed. I know there was a problem with the Marvel Legends Spider-Man 3 figure, which was priced at about 29.99. So that was different, and everyone was expecting that to still be at the same, maybe 27 at the most. No one expected that jump, but if you've been listening to myself and Mr. Maddox over on Toy Box Chronicles, that happens every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the SKN network. We've been saying that, or over on Bandito Radio for our podcast over there, Action and Figure Frequencies, which Bandito Radio is on its own channel now. So when you search it up, you'll search under Bandito Radio. It's on its own YouTube channel right there. And we've been saying that on Action Figure Frequencies, that the price of this was definitely going to go up to $30. We knew the $30 figure was coming. Um, but I thought they might jump from 27 then to 30. So when that started happening, to start freaking out a bunch of people. Well, Hasbro's still selling all the classified figures that we saw at 24.99. So far on Hasbro Pulse, they haven't changed. But over on some of the other secondary stores and over on Amazon, there's been some changes. So let's run this down. Hasbro Pulse 24.99. Over on Big Bad Toy Store is 25.99. But they do have a little disclaimer that says that due to tariffs, these prices may change at time of shipping. So make sure you're paying attention to that, because you don't want to sit there and actually get stuck with, like, exuberated pricing, and then you come to find out that this whole trade war thing didn't happen the way it was, and now you got a figure that you don't want, and you paid a little bit more than everywhere else. And then from Amazon, Amazon went up another tick. Amazon is charging 27.99 for your basic classified characters. No disclaimer at the bottom saying they're going to raise it to tariffs. I think they just stuck it at, this is the price. If anything happens, it's going to be this. And then from there, one of our old affiliates that we had on the channel, Entertainment Earth, which we felt uncomfortable still running with them. They're charging way more than anyone else. $31.99. And that's not before shipping. So, there's hefty prices that we're looking at right now. Again, don't panic. The prices are gonna level it out at one point. We're gonna see what it is, but be very leery. If it Hasbro Pulse, if it comes back in a couple of weeks and Hasbro hasn't jumped their numbers up after this whole thing comes down, then maybe we need to start ordering directly and trying to actually make sure that Hasbro Pulse is getting that. Because if you do have the Hasbro Pulse membership, well, you're getting free delivery on that, and that is sometimes worth the price, especially if you're ordering, like, 3 or 4 items, especially bigger items. I know the snake armor was a couple of weeks before this actual pre-order. Before then, if you ordered any of the Vamp or any Jeeps, it's worth the price to pay that $50 just for the free shipping. So, but with Big Bad Toy Store, 25.99, not bad. But you cannot give us a definitive answer on what the tariffs are gonna be. That's the problem, because, again, I look towards Hasbro Pulse. If we see the price go up on Hasbro Pulse, then we know the price is gonna go up for everyone else. Right now, they're not putting their prices up. They're staying at the price that it's at, and everyone else is anticipating and running these prices. Now, if this stables out and it doesn't get to the increases or anything, will they drop their prices? Let's be honest, they're not going to drop their prices. Chances are this may be something towards the future that we're going to be seeing because maybe Amazon might backtrack and actually go back to $24 dollars or maybe 25 or whatever the new price is going to be. But I don't think that you're gonna see Entertainment Earth drop dramatically, and I don't think Big Bad Toy Store is gonna, drop from the $25, but there may be that price of the tariffs that might come down. So we might be looking at that. All that considered, it's like, again, don't panic. It's just toys, let's see how everything works out. Let's enjoy other things. And also there's a couple of variants, maybe during this time period you start playing a long game. Start looking for some of those because if you look at over at Target or Walmart, I would say probably Target a little bit more than Walmart, but if you're checking, there's a lot of classified figures that are hitting clearance. They're trying to move out some old inventory for some new inventory, so maybe you waited on a couple of characters. I know I played the long game on a bunch of characters over there. Pig, I was not gonna pay that initial price. Pig dropped down to about $22. It was worth that price to pick them up at that point. A couple other characters that you normally see on the shelf. A lot of the retro figures, if you're in Walmart and Target, you can find those for under the basic pricing. If you're into like, the retro Duke or Scarlet or something, those prices are under 19 now. So might be worth just chasing some of those older figures or, check with some of the other sellers on like Whatnot or eBay and see what those prices are going for. You might be able to get a couple of characters because people might have kept stock in and now they're just trying to get rid of them. So, while we're waiting for everything else, then we can actually start looking for some other items that's out there. So let's start doing that. And, you know, again, with full transparency, I know that everyone is expecting the worst outcome. Let's look for the positive in it. Let's see what we can do. You never know what it might come out to, but we all love GI Joe. That's the reason why we're on the podcast. Maybe this is a solution that works out, and we can just, you know, at the end of the day, feel pretty good about our favorite hobby. From there, like I said, I'm not gonna do a long episode because it's just me and, it's just one of those situations, but I felt like everyone needed an update. I know that, the one thing that we don't do over here is we have consistencies in the shows, but it was just a hard transition to try to do the show, especially without my dear friend. And it's gonna be tough, and I don't know what's gonna happen right now because you can't replace someone like Richard. It's not a replacement thing. This man was my friend. You don't replace your friends. I don't know how I go on because we both had an equal love and I enjoyed watching his smiling face from here. So we're gonna have to just think about this. But in the meantime, we're gonna try to power on. And one of the things we're gonna be at is at the SoCal Joe Show on May the 4th. We're going to be there live streaming from the SKN table. We got a great backdrop that's going to be over there, and we're going to be recording live. We're going to try to catch some of the vendors over there. We try to do as many interviews as possible. Some of the great artists, Mr. Jamie Sullivan will be there. Fantastic artist for GI Joe. Does some great Robotech, by the way. Also, uh, you know, great customizers there. We're going to pull in any vendors or anybody we can because what we wanted to do was show people what a local small vintage toy show looks like. And a lot of times, we see what Comic-Con is, but we rarely see the community-based shows. And this is one of the best community-based shows in Southern California. So if you're in the Temecula area on May the 4th, hey, come on in. Like I said again, they have a early bird at 9 a.m. that's $10 to get in. And after that, it's $5 to get in. Reasonable show, not crazy. You come down, enjoy yourself, get some coffee, come in, we'll do some Joes, purchase maybe some vintage vehicles or even some classifieds. Maybe get an autograph. Jamie, I know, normally has some great prints there. He's a fantastic artist. I have some of his prints as well. And there are other local artists there. So stop in and see us. But once we're done with that show, and the show ends at about 3 p.m., so it's not, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. It's not all day kind of thing, but kind of is. But after that, we're gonna head up the 15 freeway to Apple Valley, and we're gonna see our buddies over at the Sarlacc Digest podcast. They have a Star Wars trivia night at Better Days Bar in Apple Valley, California. And also, it's not just Star Wars drinks and costumes, because that's all going to be there. So, like, guys, a little trivia night. So make sure you study up on your Star Wars. Make sure you're watching that new Andor too, because you never know, they may hit you with the brand new episodes and try to throw you off. So if you haven't watched those, if you're attending that night, make sure you get up on the trivia. But also, this is going to be a toy drive for the Chips organization, and so they're asking you to bring a $10 or more value toy. And again, nothing smells like having a great time, having some drinks, enjoying some trivia, and also giving a toy to a needy individual that will probably lighten up their day, because we all enjoy toys. They are probably enjoying toys. So join us for those two events, the SoCal Joe show on May the 4th that morning. And then later on that night, head up to Apple Valley to Better Days and see if you can beat those Sorlak guys. Because we got Dr. Brentley here. Dr. Brentley came in second place at their online trivia show that they did one night during their live stream. So we've got to redeem ourselves and everything. So we've been studying and pushing them. So we're looking for a number one win, because that's what we do here on the SKN network. We actually try to win. So from there, again, it's like, hey, it's gonna be a quick episode. We're gonna see how the future goes. We're gonna put some updates. It'll be in our community tabs. We'll also do it through Instagram and X. So we'll let people know what we're gonna end up doing, how the format's gonna work. If it's probably just gonna be me for a couple of weeks, you never know. We'll go over some live streams, we'll go over some things, and maybe I'll have some guest hosts in. Or we'll see what we can do. But the tribunal's not going anywhere. And it will always be a beacon for my very good friend Richard, because he was an equal part of this show, and just doing it makes me feel closer to him. And if you watched any of the old episodes, you could just see the laughter and joy in his eye. He truly enjoyed this. He truly enjoyed GI Joe. He truly enjoyed customizing. Truly enjoyed dealing with all his customers and his friends. He was just a great individual. I was blessed to call him my friend. If you watched the show, chances are you were his friend too. So we're gonna keep it cool and keep it steady. And unfortunately, this tribunal is gonna end, and it's gonna end on the most appropriate way. We're gonna just have a moment for Richard as these trumpets play. So hey, see you next time. Thanks for watching.